So before I start, guys, for all the Indian guys out there, Happy Diwali! It's a big festival out here in India. Uh, just to give you an idea about this festival to others, this is the festival wherein people do the firecrackers and all that. It's a festival of lights. The people, they do all the fireworks and all that. Just that if you're not from India. So, so happy Diwali to everybody out there. Uh, so let's get started, guys. So let's have a quick recap. So let's see. Thank you, Krishna. Same to you. Uh, let's see what we have discussed in the last class. We have discussed about these things. We get to started about the protocol. Okay. So the assignment that I've given, we will go through the assignment at the end of the class after the whole class is done. So it's not for now. So we'll get into the class, but before the class, as we do every day, we'll have a quick recap as to what we have done. I know it's a long weekend. For us, for the class. So there was a 3-day gap. So let me see how many people could remember what actually we have discussed in the last class. So please come out with the points as we always do. Please come out with the points, guys, as to what we have discussed. Anything that you could remember. And don't think it's a waste of time, guys. It's a wonderful brainstorming. These 5 minutes, whatever we spend on that, it's a wonderful brainstorming so that it can get you into the class. It will get you thinking as to what is that we have discussed, and slowly it will get into you'll get into the class. Okay, wonderful, guys. I have been getting wonderful responses. So we started with the 3-tier architecture. Okay, so so what are the different tiers that are involved? Client, app server, and what is the last one? And what is the last one? And the DB server. Wonderful. DB server, database server. Okay, so database we call it as DB server. So then we went on and they said not 4-tier but entire architecture. So there is one more tier which is added. So first is the client, obviously. Then you have a web server. Okay, but in the real world, that the web server and app server are usually together. Okay, so then you have an app server and then the database server. But in the real-time applications, most likely than not, it's not a rule of thumb. Most likely than not, you have the web app server, which is a combination of both web server and app server. So at the fag end of the class, we have discussed about a wonderful topic called, in case the web server and app server talk to each other. Okay, so what it would be. Okay, so I would strongly advise you that you should actually look at the document. I have sent this document across to you yesterday. It takes hardly 5 to 10 minutes to read the document. Please go ahead and read that. The whole perception of yours change. About the programming, about what is an app server, web server, what is the difference, how the things happens, the whole perception of that changes. In case if somebody needs that talk again today at the end of the class, please remind me so that I'll go through it. If somebody missed in the last class, please let me know. I'll go through that again, okay, for you. Okay, but you have to you have to let me know on the chat window. Okay, then we went ahead and we said that there is something called scale up and scale out. Something called scale up and scale out. Okay, scale up is replacing that old guy with a young superhuman. Okay, we have already spoken about it. We discussed about that ticket window, right? The movie ticket window. And the scale up is more like replacing. The scale up is more like replacing. Hang on, guys. I'm getting some messages. Just give me a moment. Okay. Okay, looks like I haven't sent the GoToMeeting invite to some of them. Just give me one moment, guys. I'll quickly get back to you. Okay. Sorry about the disturbance in the middle of the class. So looks like there is some of them missed out on the GoToMeeting link. Sometimes it do happen. I'm really sorry for this. Okay, so there you go. So we have discussed about the scale up and scale out. Scale up is like, in the movie ticket window, there is an old guy and he's doing the processing very slowly. So what you have done, you have replaced that old guy with a young guy. That's a scale up, which means that here the old guy means the processor, the old processor, or not a new generation processor or a slow processor, or it could be your memory. Okay, so when he said the old guy, it could be a processor which is not fast enough, or the memory in performance testing usually means RAM. Okay, so you don't have enough RAM, or the processor is not fast enough. That's what is the old guy. So scale up means you increase or you improve this, but there is only so much that you can increase or improve. You cannot keep increasing this because there is only so much processor. I mean, you don't have more advanced processors, right? So once you have reached that and you cannot you cannot get any more fast processor, then you scale out. Scale out means adding more processors, so adding more servers. It is like adding more counters. Okay, so once we have done with the scale up and scale out, then we started discussing about the load balancer, because if you have more servers, you need somebody to balance the load across the servers. So you have the load balancer. Okay, as a part of the assignment, what I have requested you to do is do some research and figure out all the web app servers which are available in the market. Okay, web app servers which are available in the market, who is the owner of them, okay, and which programming languages it supports, okay, and the versions, okay, and same thing for DB server as well. Okay, so this is the assignment that I've sent. Unfortunately, I haven't received the assignments from too many people. Okay, but whatever I have received, I will go through by the end of the class. Okay, and we will look into that. Okay, but please take the assignments very seriously, guys. It will not only improve you as a software guy or a software IT guy, okay, but also it will enhance your chances of getting the job or in the performance testing area. Or you're already working in the performance testing area, you will become a better performance tester. Okay, don't think that I'm working now, let me postpone it to the weekend and all that. Just spend half an hour. I don't give too much of assignments. Just spend half an hour here and there. Whatever, you're doing some work, just go ahead and do that. While on the mobile, you can search, or, you can do the stuff here and there and get it done. Okay. But somebody is serious about getting the job and want a career in IT, you have to take these assignments very seriously, because what you hear, okay, you grasp 10%, but what you do, you grasp 100%. Okay, so I don't want you to be at 10%. I want you to be somewhere at 70-80%, so that and that will happen only once doing it. And lot of I have been in this field, or I've been doing training for so long, guys, and it's not the feedback from one student, but a lot of students, that when you do it, it is very simple, but when I start doing it, I find it difficult. Okay, so there is no reason why a lot of people have given this feedback to me. So if you think that whatever is taught in the class is very simple and you don't need the practice for that, then this is the feedback I have gotten from a lot of students in the past. Okay, and every assignment that you submit, I will definitely review at the end of the class. Typically on the same class itself, I won't postpone, and that too in front of you. Okay, so in case if you have any mistakes, I'll right away find it and correct them. Okay, and as a trainer, I am committing my time after the class. Okay, I don't even tell how much time. It depends upon how many assignments you have submitted and how much help you need from me. Okay, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, whatever it is. Okay, but I want you to learn from my class and go as a better performance tester and should be a ready-made product in the market to get a job. Okay, on that note, I'll get started today. And also we started, we looked into certain things like, web app server as to where it is, okay, where it needs to be installed, and on this the code will go. So we have discussed that. So I'll give you a review on that. I'll completely like go through, because that's where I wanted to start. I have stopped halfway through in the last class, so I'll go back a little bit. I'll take few steps backward and I'll start, and then we'll get started, guys. Okay, and also I'll request that please, if required, please stay back for 10 to 15 minutes more in the class, okay, if required. Okay, so now that there is a daylight saving and in New York it is 8:30, so I would expect that in case if it's 15-20 minutes late, I hope you would support me on that factor. Okay, so let's go back and let's step back a little bit and let's start. Okay, I hope I hope the session is getting recorded. Yes, it is. Wonderful. So now in the last class we have discussed where our web app server will be installed. Okay, let's assume this is your machine. Okay, the machine is a computer. So let me get the picture of a computer so that it becomes easy for you to understand. Okay, so that it is easy. Okay, so let me take this picture of a computer so that you will completely visualize as to what I'm saying. Uh-oh, I thought it is simple to capture it. So let me save this image on the desktop. Come on. So this happens sometimes, the things gets hangs up with me. Just hold on with me for a couple of minutes. Whole thing got hanged up. So okay, so I'll go back to my paint. So let's assume this is your computer. This is your computer. Okay, so what you do as is, now here is my developer. Okay, here is my developer. No, okay, fine. So here is my developer. So what he has written is, he has written a piece of code, or he has developed a piece of code. Okay, so typically that's what the developers are there for. He has developed a piece of code. Can it be developed in only one language or multiple languages? Yes, Sujata, I am recording. Can it be developed in one programming language, or could it be developed in multiple programming languages? I want to hear from all of you when I ask the question. Please.
Multiple.
So it could be, he could have developed in Java or .NET or C or C++ or any of them, Python or any of the programming languages. He could have developed in any one of the programming languages. So he has developed the code. Now what he has to do is, he has to put that on the app server. We know that this particular piece of code goes on the web app server. Okay, so from the last few classes we have been discussing this particular code, our developer has developed. Okay, so this usually goes on the web app server. So what typically happens, you cannot put this code on the web app server directly. Okay, you cannot put this code on the web app server directly. Okay, so what usually happens is, sorry, this is the host. This is your computer. Okay, this is not yet your web app server. So let me take this away. This is, you cannot call this as a web app server yet. So this is your computer, okay, or a server, or any hardware, okay. It could be your laptop, it could be your desktop, or it could be the proper servers, okay. So you cannot put on this machine directly, okay. So this is the hardware. Let's say this is my computer. You cannot put on this directly. So let me copy this. Why am I not able to copy this and paste it here? I'm surprised. Okay, so let me take a snipping tool. Okay, so let me copy that. Okay, now let me paste it. Oh, it works now. Okay, so Sumati, it is getting recorded. Sumati, I just checked it. Let me double check it again. Yes, it is getting recorded. Okay, thanks for the reminder though. Okay, so now this is my computer. This is the piece of code the developer has developed. I cannot directly put this piece of code on the computer like this. Okay, so it's a desktop or a laptop or a server. I don't care. So any one of them. It could be a proper server as well. But I cannot put this code directly on this. So what do I do? First, you have to install the web app server on this. First of all, you have to install a particular web app server. There are some web app servers which are available in the market. You have to install on that. Okay, so if you have done research, can somebody tell me what all the web app servers which are available in the market, done by different guys? I mean, created by different companies. Any web app servers, guys? If you have done the assignment, you would know it. So use your chat window to let me know. Okay, so from the company called Apache. Okay, what is that web app server you have, Melly? The company name is Apache. From Apache makes Jmeter. Apache makes lot of things. Okay, Apache Tomcat. Okay, so Apache also makes Tomcat. So that's one thing. Others, any other company, any other web app server? You know, web app server, it's only one. It's not one person who creates it. There are a lot of people. For example, operating system. It's not just Windows. You know, our Apple guy also creates, right? You know, like all that. Okay, from IBM, they've created something called WebSphere, IBM WebSphere, wonderful. Okay, like this, they have JBoss and they have different web app servers. So purchase it from one of these companies. WebLogic, wonderful. WebLogic, yeah, that's popular one as well. Okay, so purchase it from one of the companies. Purchase it from one of the companies, and you have installed. Let's say this is your JBoss. You have purchased. You have decided to buy JBoss, and you have installed that JBoss on your machine. Now you call this machine on the desktop on which you have installed this web app server. What do you call this machine as, guys? What do you call this machine? Any idea? What do we call this machine? Now this machine, okay, what do we call them? Okay, the whole thing is the server. The whole thing is the server. Now with this web app server software and the combination of this hardware and this web app server software, you call this as web app server. I'm okay with that. But just this machine, what do we call it? Okay, just this machine, what do we call it? So Yimim say I couldn't log into the class. Is there a new link? Okay, so Yimim didn't get the link. So let me send the link to Yimim. So that's why I said, you know, join at least, you know, 5 minutes early. So this is the problem. Whenever I send the new link, right, this is the regular problem I'm facing. Okay, so this machine, we call it as a host machine. We call it as a host machine. You know the difference between a host and a guest, right? Host and a guest, right? This machine is hosting my web app server software. This machine on which you have installed the web app servers, the hardware, I would use the word hardware, the hardware on which this web app server software is installed, you know, is hosting this web app server software. So it's hosting this web app server software. So we call this machine as a host machine typically. The hardware on which this web app server is installed, we call this as a host machine. The hardware on which, in case you decided to install the database software, even then it's called a host machine. Okay, here in this case, you have installed the web app server software like a Tomcat or a WebSphere or a JBoss or a WebLogic. The hardware on which you have installed, we call this as a host machine. The host machine with the combination of this software, we call this as a web app server. We call this as a web app server. And once this web app server is ready, now you deploy this code on this. Now you deploy this code on this. So what do we do now? What do we do now? What do we do now? So we deploy this piece of code. We deploy this piece of code, whatever you made, Java or .NET or C, C++, we deploy this code on this. And now once the code is deployed, or you put, in other words, you put the code on this. So you cannot use the word like put. There is a specific word, deploy. So, you deploy the code on this. Now your web app server is ready. Now your web app server is ready. Okay, same story for the database server as well. So you take the database server. Okay. Okay, so let me take the snipping tool and take this. Okay. So now let's say this is my database. Okay, let's say this is my hardware. Now you decided to install, you decided to make this as a hardware, or you wanted to use this hardware for database, for the database. So what you do, you install a software, a database software on this hardware. What are the database softwares which are available in the market? What are the database softwares which are available in the market? Maybe an Oracle, okay, or a DB2, or I don't know, Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so like this, there are quite a few of them. So you take the softwares and you install it on this hardware. You install it on this hardware. Now you can call this whole setup as the database server. Now you can call this whole setup as the database server. Any server is the combination of hardware and software. So you have a hardware and you have the software. So this combination of hardware and software, you can call it as a server. So this is my database server. This is my database server. So what do you have installed on this? Oracle. So again, this is the hardware on which this Oracle software is installed. That hardware, just that hardware, you can call this as a host machine. Can we call this as a host machine, guys? Can we call this as a host machine? Yes. Because here it is hosting a different software, which is the Oracle database. So on any hardware on which you are installing a particular server software, that hardware typically we call it as a host machine. Typically, we call it as a host machine. On this host machine, you decided to install a database server called Oracle. So this host machine with the combination of that software became a database server. On this host machine, you decided to install a software called Apache Tomcat or IBM WebSphere or JBoss or WebLogic. Then this host machine with that combination of software, we call this as a web app server. So like this, there could be multiple host machine. It is hosting a particular software. Okay. So the host machine could be of different operating system. The host machines could be of different operating system. Let's say the host machine is your desktop. So let's say on the desktop you have Windows 7 software. So now the host machine OS is Windows 7. Okay, let's say you have decided to use your desktop as a host machine for an Oracle database and you have Windows 8 on that. So now the host machine OS or the host machine operating system is Windows 8. So let's say you have a laptop which is Windows 10 and you decided to install the WebLogic or let's say Apache Tomcat on that, and you wanted to use your laptop as a web app server. Now the web app server host machine OS is what? Windows 7. But very rarely we get to see this operating system in the real world. Other than this operating system, are you aware of other operating systems? Any other operating systems that you are aware of? I'm just asking you guys. Any other operating systems other than Windows 7 and Windows 8 and Windows 10? Any other operating systems you are aware of? Wonderful. There is Linux. Okay. There is Mac. There is Unix. Okay. There is Ubuntu. Okay. There is Red Hat Linux. In Linux itself, there are different. There is Solaris. Okay. There is HP AIX. Okay. Again, different companies are making the operating system. All these three operating systems, who have created, guys? All these operating system, who has created? Who has created it? The Windows guys. Okay. And this one, okay, These are the first three are or Bill Gates. Second, this one is, you know, or I can say these are come from the Microsoft, and this is from the Apple. Like this, you know, these are free, okay, completely available. There is this particular guy is created, but you know, you can get it for free, totally free of cost. All these three. Then this Red Hat Linux, another company is making it. Solaris, okay. I think Solaris is from Oracle. So HP UX or HP AX. Can some AX is a different altogether, not HP. So AX, okay, and HP UX, I believe. Okay, so I'll get back to you on that, HP UX or something like that. If somebody knows it, maybe our Srivalli knows this. Srivalli, can you tell me, you know, what is this HP UX or HP? Because you are from the infrastructure side. Can you help us out here? Okay, so these are from different companies as well. Okay, so not only Microsoft makes the operating system, there are a lot of companies who makes the operating system. Okay, like these are all the operating systems. Very rarely we get to use this. Very rarely we get to use this. In fact, for a real server, we never use those operating systems, so they are out of scope. From the Microsoft, they made another called Microsoft. What is that? Microsoft. One second, let me look at that. Hang on. What is that? There are a couple of servers for Microsoft Server 2003, Microsoft Server 2009. Yeah. So Microsoft Windows Server, I think Windows Server 2003, Windows Server 2003 and 2008, I believe. These are from Microsoft. So probably use that, or the most popularly used ones are these three guys. The most popularly used ones are these three. What are them? Red Hat Linux, Solaris, and AIX. So these are the three servers typically which are used, I mean operating systems. These are the three host operating systems which are typically used. Okay, so if you are buying this host, the host should have an operating system. So that is typically not a Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10, but there are others, like, you know, these are the ones. Red Hat Linux or Solaris. This is Solaris, guys. Okay, Windows Server 2008 R2. Wonderful. Okay. So, okay, so it could be one of these servers, 2003 to Windows Server 2003 or 2008. Typically, we don't use that one as well, and typically it could be one of them. Okay, so you don't use your Windows 7 or Windows 8, Windows 9, Windows 10 as the host machines. Okay, so typically these are the ones which will be used as a host machines. Okay, so host machine means host machine should have an operating system. So these are the operating systems. Okay, so are we okay with this, guys? Are we okay, or did I confuse you? Are we okay? So what is a host machine? On which you install the software. It could be a web app server software or a database software. The web app servers is Apache Tomcat or IBM WebSphere or JBoss or WebLogic or others. Database softwares could be Oracle, DB2 and SQL Server. Once you have a host machine, that should have an operating system. Okay, only if you have an operating system, then you can install. So typical operating systems that you and me are aware of are Windows 7, Windows 8 and Windows 10. Are these used actually as a host machine for the servers? No, the host machines which are used for the servers, they usually have the operating system as one of these, or one of these three things. Okay, so you have to be aware of when you get into the projects. You would see that, you know, you would realize the host machine operating systems are not Windows 7 or 8 or 10, but these are the ones. Okay, and you are expected to know this in the interviews, because in the interviews they might not ask you what are the host machines. In the interview they would ask you what is your architecture. Okay, what is your architecture for the last project, or the project that you have done as an academic project. What is the architecture? Did I give the name correct? Okay, so when they say what is the architecture of the application, you have to say, you know, what is the web app servers, what is the host machines, okay, and what is the web app servers, what is the version, what is that code which is there on that, sitting on that. Everything you have to mention. So you can go back and talk about the architecture that I have taught in the class, okay, which is this architecture. Okay, so you can say this is the client, the load balancer, the web app server. You can get the combination of, you can say the web app server 1 and web app server 2, even though here I said web server separately and app server, but in the real-time projects, you have a web app server 1 and web app server 2 and database server. And the web app server 1, what is the operating system for that? Okay, so OS for that, and what is the web app server? Is it the JBoss or what is that? And what is the programming language which is sitting on that? And what is the database server and all that? So tomorrow I'll come out with a real-time architecture so that you can speak about it in your interviews. Okay, so let me note it down. Okay, come out with a complete architecture for the interview. Okay, so tomorrow at the starting of the class, I'll come out with a nice architecture that you can speak about. It contains the host and it contains about all the versions and everything. Okay, so you can talk about that. Okay, so I'll talk about couple of them. Okay, so at the starting of the class, I'll talk about one, and at the ending of the class, okay, we can after the whole class is done, I'll talk about a little complex ones. So whoever is willing to stay back, they can stay back and look at the second one. Stay back and look at the second one. Okay, so you can talk about the second one. Okay, so far it is clear, guys. So far it is clear. So far it's clear. Everybody, I want to ask everybody, guys. I want to ask everybody. Okay, so far it is clear. Wonderful, guys. So wonderful. So we'll proceed further now. Tomorrow I'll come out with a real-time architecture so that you can completely talk about that architecture in your interviews when somebody asks what is your architecture like in your last project, and that's a 100% interview question. What is that? It's a 100% interview question. Okay. Now, okay. So the other things, okay, as I've told you, let's look at this simple architecture. We have a client and a web app server and a database server. Okay, so you typically have a Tomcat, JBoss, WebLogic, ISS, or WebSphere installed on that, and that's why you're calling a web app server. And you install like Oracle, Microsoft Server, MongoDB, or whatever it on this, then this becomes a database server. Okay, so as I've told you, for the interview purposes. Okay, Sujata, I'll look into that. Okay, I'll talk about my architecture at the end of the class, and something little simple at the starting of the class. Okay, so interview purposes, I told you you need to look at the versions as well. You need to know the versions as well. Okay, and the host machines, as I've told you, it could be a HP UX, Solaris, Red Hat Linux, or AIX. Host machines means the machine on which you have installed this Oracle. That machine will have an operating system. It will not be typically a Windows 7 or Windows 8 or Windows 10. It could be one of them, honestly speaking. Why? Because it is more secure and fast. Okay, why? Because why people use only this? Because they are more secure and fast. Now watch carefully. You have sent a request. Let's say it's a launch request. This is a Facebook. This is a Facebook application. This is a Facebook application, and you have sent a launch request. The request went to the web app server, and let's say, for whatever the reason, it went to the app server as well. On this host, both servers will be installed. So Sujata, okay, Shraddha is asking a question. Before I proceed further, let me take all the questions and complete it. So Shraddha has a question. Shraddha, please unmute yourself and ask, because your question is not clear.
I'm asking, on this host machine, both web server and DB server, both will be installed on the single host machine?
No, on this,
or it could be different.
On this host machine, you have web app server. On this host machine, you have a database server in this picture. But is there a possibility? I think so. It's yes. Okay. Is there a possibility on one single host machine? Can you have a web app server and database servers? I think it is possible. I've seen some.
It depends on the load on the server.
Right. Okay. If it's a simple small application, everything will be there on one single host machine.
Or it could be different, means for web server different host and for DB server different host.
Typically, that's how it will be. As you can see, I'm clearly giving a picture, right? This is one host machine and this is another host machine. That's how it will be. So this host machine,
Okay.
you install the Tomcat on that. This host machine, you install the Oracle on that. So these are from two different host machines. So now this host machine with the software, it became a web app server. This host machine with the Oracle software became a DB server. Okay. So Shraddha, is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Okay. So everybody, everybody understood that what Shraddha is asking me is, do we have a different host machine for this and this? Yes, typically that's how it will be. Okay, that's why you call this as separately as web app server, and this is on the database server. Okay. Now our Srivalli has a question for us. It's possible in Pega. I'm not quite sure about the Pega. Honestly speaking, I heard about it, but I don't even know how the architecture is for that and all that. So I can't really answer that, Srivalli. Yeah. I can't really answer for that. Okay. Now let's see what happens. Let's say this is a Facebook application, and one more thing, as I've told you, today is Diwali. There will be a lot of background noise, so be prepared for that. Okay. It's possible for Pega. What is possible for Pega, Srivalli? I'm just trying to understand. I believe so. I think so. I think so. But I don't even know what is Pega, honestly speaking. So where it will come into picture and all that. But if it's a web application, yes, it's possible. Srivalli, can we take this question after the class, please? Can you stay back and we'll talk one-on-one so that I'll be able to answer it better.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah. I don't know. I forgot your name. Sorry about it. I'm saying that DB server and web server is installed in the same host machine in Pega. So Shraddha asked, right? Is it possible to install same in one host machine? It's possible in Pega.
Okay, it's possible in Pega. Okay. So this is in response to the question which Shraddha has asked. Wonderful. So Shraddha, you see, Srivalli has answered your question. It is possible. On the same host machine, you can install as many servers as possible. Okay? So mainly it will be typically the same OS. Okay, mainly it will be typically the same OS that could be used. Okay, but it will be two different host machines. Okay, the OS typically will be same. If you are scaling up and scaling out, and there are two web app servers. Okay, but it totally depends upon the developer. I mean, they wanted two different. It could be two different, but I haven't seen that. You have two web app servers. The host machine of first one is Solaris, the second one is HPUX. We don't usually do that. Okay, when they go buy it from somebody, they buy both the machines from only one guy. Why would they go to two different vendors and buy it? Typically, that doesn't happen. Okay, so now you see. Okay, let's proceed further, guys. Let's proceed further. So, by the way, my name is Kumar Gupta. Okay, just that who doesn't know. Okay, you can address me as Kumar. Okay, so now from the client you're sending, let's say this is a Facebook application, let's say this is your Facebook web app server and Facebook database server, and you have sent the login request. The request went to the web app server. Then the web app server realized that it needs to query a database, so it has queried the database. The database server has sent the response back. The database server has sent the response back, and then finally the web app server has sent the response back to the client. This is when you will be able to see the wall. Okay, let's see what has happened during this. What has happened during this? Now, as soon as you click on the login button, the request went to the web app server. Typically on the network, really very, very small time it takes. So I'm completely discarding the time that is taken by the network, because usually it is very fast unless your internet is really slow. Okay, so now the request has reached the web app server. For web app server to serve the request, how much time it has taken? 0.5 seconds. How much time it has taken? 0.5 seconds. Now the web app server has fired the query for the username and password on the database server. As the part of processing, it has fired the query. As the part of processing, it has fired the query on the database server. The database server to pull out that username and password and send it to the web app server. It has taken how much time? 5.5 seconds. Again, I'm discarding the time that is spent on the network because that is usually, typically, it is fast unless it's not properly designed. So it took 5.5 seconds to go to the table, pull out that username and password and send the results back to the web app server. And the web app server takes that and it further processes and then send the response back to the client. This is when you will be able to see the wall. So total how much time it took if you discard the time which is spent on this network, which is the internet, and this network which is intranet. So if you discard the time, so for this transaction to complete or the end-to-end transaction time, how much time it has taken, guys? How much time it has taken? Typically it takes some time to travel for this. I've discarded that because it's usually in the microseconds. Then it has spent 0.5 seconds on this. Then again, there's little bit of time that it takes to travel this. Again, that's very small, so I've discarded it. And to process your query, it took 5.5 seconds. And then finally you send and you got the response back and then finally send it. So here you have spent 0.5 seconds. Here the request has spent 5.5 seconds. So how much is the total response times for this transaction, guys? How much is the total response times for this transaction? I want to hear from everybody.
6 seconds.
6 seconds. How? The addition of these two. 0.5 seconds and 5.5 seconds. We are ignoring the time that the network has taken. We are ignoring the time that the network has taken. This is internet and this is intranet or your local area network. Okay, so 6.6 seconds. Now, usually, as per the SLA, the client said that, the response times for the login transaction should not exceed 2 seconds, which means that it should be less than or equal to 2 seconds. If it is less than 2 seconds, it's even better, which means that your application is faster. But this is the threshold. What is the threshold? 2 seconds. It should not exceed 2 seconds. Who has given this? Who has given this? Your client has given this or your stakeholder has given this. Okay? How he has given this? He didn't come and whispered in your ears. He has given this as a part of NFR. Okay? He will not come to your desk and whisper in your ears that, oh, it should be 2 seconds. No, that doesn't happen. They will prepare a document called NFR, and as a part of NFR, he has given that, it should not be exceeding 2 seconds. Now you have started doing the testing and you have realized what? It is 6 seconds. 6 seconds. Now, don't you think there is a bottleneck? Because client said that it's 2 seconds. You are getting 6 seconds. Your application is slow. Not the whole application, at least the login transaction. Is it meeting the NFR, guys? Please tell me. Is it meeting the NFR that the client has given? No, it is not meeting the NFR. So there is definitely a bottleneck. Okay? Okay, so there are still some people who didn't look at the new link. Okay, so thanks Shraddha for passing on that link. Okay, so let me send that link. I don't know why people join so late. Okay, so let me send that link. Did I send the link to Imam? Imam, are you there? Did you join? Imam, can you please confirm if you have joined? So I think I have sent a wrong link to people. As I'm speaking, the people who are pinging me a little late, I'm sending the wrong link to them. So let's hang on, let me hang on. Let me send the right link to the people. Copy the URL. So this is the reason why I usually say, join a little early.
Sir, can you give us a 5-minute break for this link and all?
Okay. Yeah,
So
it's
that's
however the time for the break, guys. So sorry. So let me give you the break. So, guys, usually this happens at the starting of every week. So what I will do is, since people are facing issue whenever I send a link, right? So I'll try to keep the same link not just for week 2, but for all the weeks going forward, so that you don't have any discrepancy. Okay. So so that people will not have any issues. And so sorry today, because I had to break in the class couple of times to serve the people who didn't look into their emails, or maybe I haven't sent the email, or I forgot to send the email, or whatever it is. So sorry about that. So let's take the 10 minutes break. Okay, it's 7:46 India time. Okay, 7:46 India time. Let's try to join exactly at 7:56 India time, which is 10 minutes from now. I'm pausing my video. Please remind me to resume recording. And there you go. So let's get started now. So before the break, guys, I've asked you, okay, so the whole request, it has spent 0.5 seconds here, 5.5 seconds here. Okay, so how much time overall we have discussed that it is 6 seconds. Okay, so now you tell me where is the bottleneck. For this particular request called login. Where do you think is the bottleneck, guys? I want to hear from all of you.
on DB server.
On the DB
On
server.
DB server.
Wonderful. So the problem is with the DB server. Now you have to figure out why it is spending 5.5 seconds on this, and fix that issue. Okay, Okay. So that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, that's what, as a part of analysis, you not only tell them that the problem is on the DB server, but you have to, if possible, you have to try to figure out why it is spending 5.5 seconds. Okay, and your developer or a performance engineer will fix that issue. Okay, will fix that issue. So there is a term called performance tuning. Okay, so there is a term called performance tuning. Okay, so performance tuning is tuning this system, or tuning, in this case the bottleneck is there on the database server, so tuning this system so that the performance can be better, or fixing the issues which are there in this system, because of which the response times is high, and fixing them, you can call them as performance tuning as well. Okay, so performance tuning as well, or fixing the bottlenecks, you can call them as performance tuning as well. Fixing the bottlenecks is called performance tuning as well. So performance tuning can be done for the whole system, or it could be done for one single tire. Okay, it could be done for the whole system. So in case in the interviews, if you start hearing the word like performance tuning, don't get overwhelmed. Performance tuning is figuring out where is the issue, that is part of performance analysis, and tuning is fixing the issue. If the issue on web server, what is the term for bottleneck? It's the same thing. The term itself is bottleneck, and you will be tuning the system, tuning the whole system, or a tire which is there on it. Okay, Shraddha, a tire, it could be one of those tires wherein you will be tuning, or you will be tuning the whole system. It will be tuning the whole system in order to make your application run fast. Okay, now we'll proceed further, guys. I hope everybody has joined back. Okay, some of them I've seen them leaving, so I'll hope that they are back. Yes, wonderful. Now we'll look at a very important term called protocol. Okay, let's try to stay back a little more time, 10 or 15 minutes more, guys, and try to cover this protocol. Okay, try to cover this protocol. So Lashim, okay, so now Lashim has a question. Do the performance engineer work with the SME, or it fixed by himself? So Lashim, it's a very tricky question. So when you said SME, who are we talking about? By the way, SME, for somebody who is not new to performance test or new to IT, SME means subject matter expertise. Okay, subject matter expertise. Glad you know the term, Lashim. So when we're talking about this, they usually work. For example, the problem is with your web app server, and they figured out that the code is the issue. Okay, our Java, the program that you have written on Java is the issue. So usually they work with the developers to fix the issue, or they might do it by themselves. It's totally, it totally varies. Okay, if that performance engineer is new, then probably he can work with the expectation is, he do it by himself, but typically it's a group work. The performance tuning is very difficult and it's a group work. Okay, so he will work with the developer to fix it. I mean, if it's a problem with the Oracle database, he work with the database admin and the Oracle experts to fix the issue. This is what I have seen with my own eyes. But as a process, I cannot 100% tell you, Lashim, because I don't know what happens in other projects. But whatever the projects that I worked closely with the performance engineering team, they usually work with the corresponding teams to fix it. And there was one project wherein the developer himself was a performance engineer and he was taking care of all the issues, and the issues related to the network, he was coordinating with the network guys and solving the issues, and the issues related to the database, he was working with the database folks to solve the issues. So if something simple, he will be able to do it, but if something complex and he needs that, that particular expert needs to be there, then he will pull him in. Okay, I've seen all combinations. Okay, so but what should happen as a process, I can't 100% tell you. Okay, I've seen different, in the real world, people cross the lines. In the real world, the people cross the lines. Okay. Now, protocol. Okay, so this is a very, very important term, guys, the protocols. Okay, hear this carefully, very, very carefully. When it comes to performance testing, it's all about protocols. It's all about protocols. So let's look into what is this protocol. We will go nice and slow. And so that by the end of this topic, you will be 100% understanding what is a protocol. Now, you know our Mark, right? You know our Mark. So luckily he became a minister or a senator or whatever you call in your country. Okay, so he became a minister all of a sudden. Okay, so let's say he's a senator. Okay, senator is okay. So in some countries you call it as a chief minister. In some countries you call him as a senator. But let's say Mark is a US guy, so he became a senator. So this guy is a big minister now. Okay. So he's traveling from point A to point B. If a normal person like you and me are going from point A to point B, there's nothing much protocol, you get into the car and you drive. That's it. Okay. But a Mark who is a senator, now he's traveling from point A to point B. It's a different story altogether. So what will happen? There will be some protection vehicles, which will travel in front of him and behind him. Okay, so usually you call them as a convoy or something like that. Okay, then not in US, but typically in other countries, I have seen that that road will be blocked for access for the common people. Now you see all these people have been blocked and they are not allowed to enter this until our minister goes away. Okay, from that point. Okay, so this guy, all this traffic for the common people will be stopped. And so that that guy can peacefully travel and there will not be any issues. Okay, so there will be jammer vehicles which will be going in front of him. Okay, and there will be cars ahead of him and behind him, and maybe he will be sitting in one of these cars here. Okay, so now the route in which he will travel. Okay, so that will be decided couple of days early itself. Okay, couple of days ahead. So there are some set of rules. In simple words, there are some set of rules that needs to be followed if our minister called Mark has to travel from point A to point B. Maybe he's traveling from New York to, let's say, New Jersey. Okay, so wherever he's traveling, so there is some set of rules. He cannot go travel like a common man. There is some set of rules. Like, the route will be decided couple of days ahead. Jammer vehicles will be going ahead. The road will be blocked for the common people. There will be protection vehicles behind ahead. These are the rules that I figured out by watching some of the movies. But there could be, if you're a policeman and you work over there, he will come out with, probably 100 other rules. Okay, but these are the rules that you and me know, right? We watch a lot of Hollywood and all those movies. Okay, so in other words, in other words, there are some set of rules that will be followed. Okay, or in other words, there is a protocol. There is a protocol that will be followed. In other words, there is a protocol that will be followed if our minister Mark is going from point A to point B. Protocol means what? Protocols means what? Set of rules. Okay, some of the protocols will be defined, okay, like for our Mark going from point A to point B. Some of the protocols are not defined, but we do it in our regular life. For example, if you're going to the office, okay, you don't go on your pajamas, right? You wash yourself, you comb your hair well, and you dress up you dress up well, and probably you take the laptop, and then you carry your badge as well. Typically every company has a badge. Okay, if you're an IT guy, you already know that. So you put your badge on, and then you will go to the office. These are some rules that you follow. Some of them are defined by your company, that you have to bring your laptop and badge and dress neatly and all that. And some of them that that you do yourself. Okay, but these are the rules that you follow if you have to go to the company. I mean, if you have to go to the company every day in the morning. So there's a protocol for that. So every day or every small things that you do in your life, there is a protocol or there is a set of rules. Okay, similarly, okay, watch here carefully, guys, watch here carefully. So our Stacy is our Mark's girlfriend. Okay, so this is our Mark, and now Stacy wants to talk to Mark. Stacy wants to talk to Mark because she's his girlfriend. Okay, so so watch carefully what Stacy is saying. Watch carefully what Stacy is saying. Catch up done once, work with mine. Catch up done once, work with mine. Okay. Now Mark will not be able to understand Stacy. And since Mark is not able to understand Stacy, he will not be able to reply back to Stacy, because the first thing to reply back is to understand what the other person has said. Once you understand what the other person has said, now you can reply back. Now Mark can reply back to Stacy, but the first thing is not done. What is that? Understanding. Why? Because Stacy didn't follow the set of rules for English. What are the set of rules for English? Set of rules for English is grammar. Okay, so for the language called English, the set of rules is what? Grammar. And our Stacy didn't follow the grammar. Didn't follow not only grammar, anything in English. She didn't follow the basic sentence formation. The basic sentence formation that is required for Stacy to talk. She didn't follow that. The set of rules. Okay, this is the reason why Mark couldn't communicate. Okay, in other words, the simple set of rules like sentence formation and grammar is not followed, or simple words, the protocol is not followed by Stacy while speaking the English language. That is the reason why she was not able to communicate with Mark. When can you say she is able to communicate with Mark? When Mark can understand what Stacy said and Mark should reply back to Stacy. This is when you can say both are communicating with each other. Both are communicating with each other. But that is not happening in this case, because the set of rules for English or the protocol for English is not followed by Stacy. Now let's say our Stacy follows the set of rules or follows the protocol. Let's see what the sentence would look like. We'll catch up once I'm done with my work. This is what Stacy said. Now Mark will be able to understand that and says, oh, sounds good. We'll do that. Now there is communication which is happening between Stacy and Mark. So in other words, the protocol needs to be followed when the communication has to happen between two different entities. The two different entities over here are two different people. Similarly, in our computer world, we don't have real people. But what we have, or the entities what we have, is client and server. The entities that we have is client and server. Okay, the entities that we have is client and server. If these two guys has to communicate with each other, they have to communicate with each other, right? Because the client will send a request saying that, oh, I wanted to log in. You see, the client has requested for the login page. Now, okay, for the server to understand the client, it needs to follow the set of rules. Okay, now only if the server can understand, only if the Mark can understand, he can process what Stacy said and he can send the response back. Here, instead of Mark, we have server. Only if server can understand the request, only if the server can understand the request, it can process the request and sends the response back. Okay, what is a server? Server is something which can understand the request, which is something which can process the request and sends the response back. So what is the first step for the server? To understand the request. If the server needs to understand the request, the client needs to follow the protocol. The client needs to follow the protocol. If server needs to understand the request, okay, the client needs to follow the protocol when the client send the request. Okay. Earlier also the Mark needs to understand the request. Stacy has to follow the protocol, but that is for the English language. Okay. Here also the communication between these two needs to happen. Then the client needs to follow some set of rules, or in other words, follow a protocol. Follow a protocol so that our server can understand. Server can understand. Only, you see, only then the server can understand the request and then process it. Server sends the response back. It needs to follow the set of rules as well. So when the server sends the response back, it needs to follow the set of rules as well, or if it needs to follow the protocol as well, so that the client understands. So when client needs to send the request, it has to follow the protocol, and server needs to send the response back to the client. The same protocol needs to be followed so that the communication between them can happen. Is it okay so far, guys? Is it okay so far for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So I got only few responses. Okay, good responses. Thank you. Okay, wonderful. Okay, people are listening. Now, you see, like languages, you have multiple languages like English, German, French, Hindi, Arabic, Urdu, and all that. Similarly, in the protocols as well, there are lots of protocols. You see, just like we have lot of languages, we have lot of protocols in our computers as well. Okay, every protocol has its own set of rules. Okay, depending on the communication required between client and server, a protocol is selected by the architect. Okay, so the different protocols that I am aware of, I have put it over here. The very, very popular ones are HTTP protocol and HTTPS protocol. HTTP protocol and HTTPS protocol, which is better used for web applications. This is best suited for what? Web application. This is best suited for web applications. Okay, best suited for web applications. Okay, so best suited for web applications. Now, FTP protocol. What is this protocol? File transfer protocol. Between the client and servers, you need to transfer the files. HTTP, HTML is not good. FTP is good. FTP protocol is good. So this set of rules are well designed if the work is to transfer the protocols. This protocol is well suited if the communication between the server and client and server is happening over the web applications. For the web applications, this protocol is best suited. Okay, depending on the work, people came out with different protocols. If they have to transfer the files, they could use this HTTP, HTTPS, but it's not well suited. It might take a lot of time. So they came out with a different set of rules for transferring the files between client and server. So they came out with a file transfer protocol. For the mails that you send, they figured out that HTTP, HTTPS or FTP is not well suited. They came out with a different set of rules. They are SMTP protocol. So like this, there are different protocols that are there. There are a lot of protocols depending on the work, depending upon what kind of communication that is needed between the client and server. The architect will select that protocol. All you need to know is which protocol is underneath, your application. Which protocol is underneath your application. For all the web applications, typically HTTP and HTTPS is used. HTTPS is used. Just like we have different languages, we have different languages. I mean speaking languages. When I said languages, the languages that you speak, different languages that you speak, you have different protocols in our computer world as well, or IT world. Depending on the work, that a particular protocol will be selected. Okay, if the client and the communication between client and server is happening for something like a web application, the best protocol is HTTP, HTTPS. If you have to transfer some files from client to server, then if it's FTP. If you have to send mails from client to server, the best suited is SMTP. Like this, depending on the work what you are doing from the client, that particular protocol will be selected by the architect, or best suited for the that particular work, and will be selected by the architect. Okay, so at this point of time, you just need to know that the communication happens between client and server. Some set of rules has to follow, which we call it as a protocol, and there are different protocols. This is what, as long as you know this is good. Okay, as long as you know that, this is good. So are we okay so far, guys? Are we okay so far? So that we'll go look at the set of rules for HTTP, HTTPS. You've been saying that protocol is a set of rules, right? I wanted to look at this set of rules. What are this set of rules looks like? If I have to go to the office, yeah, I dress up neatly, I comb my hair neatly, I take the badge, and those are the set of rules. If Mark has to go from point A to point B, there are set of rules. So set of rules is a protocol. So I wanted to look at what is the set of rules for HTTP, HTTPMS. Okay, so that's fair enough. Before I get to that, I wanted to see if you have any questions or you're still following me. Okay, I hope you're still following me. Any questions, you can stop me, guys. Okay. You see, HTTP protocol is best suited for web applications. This is what you might be doing, guys, because most of the performance testing that we do is this for web applications. So you might be going and working with the HTTP protocol. Even in the class, we cover this HTTP protocol. When we go to the tool, maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, or whatever it is, we'll be using this. So look at some of the protocols. This is not required for you to know as a performance tester, but just to get a feel for what is this set of rules, I'll talk about that. Okay. So you see, it could be Shraddha, I don't know. I never involved in FTP protocol. I don't know if it is there. Okay. I'll check and get back to you, but it should be there. If it's there also, I'm not overwhelmed. But very rarely it is used. Wherever you think that it can be used by a lot of people, then performance testing will be done. If the application is used by like 2 or 10 or 15 people, usually performance testing will not be done. Okay, think in those lines, Shraddha. But I think it could be. I wouldn't be surprised if it is. Okay, so the best pace is go to the Vugen, click on new script, and see if the FTP is there. If it is there, then definitely it will be there. Okay. So after the class, please remind me, Shraddha, I'll show you where to go and check for what all the protocols that are there. Okay. Now you see, look at the set of rules for HTTP protocol, guys. Okay. Every request has a header and a body. This is one rule. Okay. Every request should be divided into two. One is header and one is body. Okay. Header will have a key value pairs. Okay. Header is mandatory. Body is optional. Okay, HTML language is used in the body. Like this, there are a lot of set of rules which are there. Okay, don't try to understand each line, guys, because we don't want it to become expert with HTTP protocol here. We just wanted to understand that there are set of rules for HTTP protocol. That's it. As long as you know that, we are happy. Okay, so don't try to understand each and every line which is over there. Okay. Now you see, web server, if somebody asks what is the definition of web server, it is the full implementation of HTTP. Please mute yourself, guys. Please mute yourself. Okay, thank you for understanding. Okay, so you see, web server is the full implementation of HTTP protocol. So Yigram, I'll take that question offline, okay, after the class, okay, because I need to understand what is that inbound and outbound. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Okay, so now you see, what is a web server? If somebody asks you in the interview, nobody would ask you, but just in case if they ask you what is a web server, what is the best definition? It is the full implementation of HTTP protocol. When I said full implementation, any request which is coming in the HTTP, any HTTP request, it can totally understand, it can process and sends the response in the HTTP. sends the response in the HTTP. And that is what is the implementation. Implementation means what? It can understand HTTP request, it can process in the HTTP, and it can send the response back in the HTTP as well. It can send the response back in the HTTP as well. And that is what is the implementation. So it is full implementation means it can understand, also it can create, and it can send the response back. So understanding, not only understanding but creating it as well, it can do it and send it back. Okay, and web browser partial implementation. So it can just send it and it can take the HTTP request. So it's not a full implementation. Web browser may be a Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or whatever it is. It's just a partial implementation. It can only do certain work. But web server, it can do everything related to the HTTP request or HTTP protocol. That's why it is a full implementation. This is a partial implementation. This is just a definition, guys. If you could remember, it is well and good. It is well and good. So Shraddha, you have spoken about that protocols, right? Here is the chart. Here is the chart. These are all the protocols that are possible. So the popular ones are HTTP, HTTPS. Okay, there is ODBC, Java, Web Services. So this is again a popular one. Okay, JMS, Oracle, NCA, SAP GUI. I have a course on SAP GUI as well. SAP Web, LDAP, RMI, POP, IMAP, and all that. So as a performance tester, I need to learn all of them. No. Okay. So at least the least expectation is HTTP protocol. So that's what will be covered in the class, and that's what this class is designed for. So if you practice well all the assignments that I give you, so you will become good with these two protocols, HTTP and HTTPS. And you look at the tools which are compatible with it. So FTP is not there, honestly, Shraddha. So yeah, it's not there. So you see, LoadRunner supports every single protocol which is available. So no wonder it is the most popular tool. The other tool which supports all of them is Silk Performer. Okay. Luckily, unluckily, now these two tools are owned by the same company. What is that company? Any guesses? These two tools are owned by the same company. What is that company? Any guesses?
Microfocus.
Wonderful. Microfocus. It's no longer HP. It is Microfocus. Okay. If I would have asked this question probably a year back, this one was from HP and this one was from Microfocus. But now both of them are from Microfocus and they support all of them. So this is the most popular tool which is available in the market, done a lot of stuff. The second most popular is Jmeter, which I told you that I will take few classes over the weekends. It will be extended classes for 2 to 3 hours to see, how much we can learn on Jmeter. It supports handful of protocols. Okay. When I prepared the chart, this was the list and there is the Jmeter 5 as well. So I don't know if they have added the new protocols, but this is what it is when I prepared it. HTTP, HTTPS, ODBS, Java, Web Services, and JMS protocol is supported by Jmeter. And there is Compumate, QLoad, there is OpenSTA, Microsoft VSTS, WebLoad, and other popular tools which are not included here is Microsoft VSTS is there. There is Oracle OATS Oracle Application Testing Suite. There is one tool from IBM which is Rational Performance Tester. Like this, there could be 30-40 tools which are there, guys. Yeah, Rational, which is from IBM Rational. Yeah, it was owned by Rational, which was bought out by IBM. So they still call it as IBM Rational Performance Tester. Okay, initially those tools were owned by a company called Rational. Later on, it was acquired by IBM. Okay. So these are the tools and this is the protocols. So in the handout that I've given, this list is there. So you can have a look at this list, okay, to see which tool provides, which tool is compatible with which protocols, which tools are compatible with which protocols. Okay. This is how far it is, guys. So I've completed little earlier than expected. Okay, so I don't want it to start a new chapter now, so because it will take at least 15 minutes. Okay, if I have to talk about the new chapter. So tomorrow, day after tomorrow, it will be still theory sessions. Okay, to set the expectations. So maybe till this weekend we'll have the theory sessions going on. Okay, then from starting of the next week, we will get into this tool called the LoadRunner. We'll get into this tool called LoadRunner, guys. Okay. Now, people who have questions, please stay back. Okay, I've seen some new students joining in. If you have any questions, any issues, anything, you can always bring it up here. Some questions from these classes you can bring it up, and whoever have submitted the assignments, please stay back, guys. We'll look at your assignments now. Okay, after I've answered all the questions, I'll start looking at the assignments. So first questions, any questions? So Shraddha, no assignments for today, may not be for next 2 to 3 days, guys. So once the tool demonstration starts, I'll give you regular assignments. Okay, I'll give you regular assignments, but not today. This is just the theory sessions.
Yeah, I have a question, sir. Means sometimes we face like issue when we browse some files through our web application,
Yeah.
right? So in that case, performance can be deteriorated because some person may browse one file, some person may browse 100 files. So how can we compare that, and which protocol will be used in that case?
So for uploading the files, we still use HTTP HTML protocol. Okay. Sorry, HTTP HTML. Yeah, web HTTP HTML protocol, which is HTTP HTTPS. Okay. Anything which is there on the web application, even if it is related to the files, the communication happens with HTTP HTTPS. When I've spoken about file transfer protocol, it is you're not sending it from a web application, you're sending it from completely different applications. Okay, that's a different story altogether. Okay, so
and
yeah.
and informatics is also there. So this is somewhat related to informatica or what? Informatics.
It is not used by, I'm telling you, that is not used by regular people like you. Okay, Informatica is an ETL extraction, transformation, and coding. Okay, that is a back-end process usually happens when you want to transfer the data from one database to another database, or one database to a file system, or file system to a database. Okay, so it has nothing to do with web application. Okay, so that's a different story altogether. Okay, so that is the back-end process. It usually runs as a batch process. So it's a programs which usually which will pick up the data, transform the data, and load it into another file system. Okay.
So that cannot be performance tested.
They could be, but they will be done performance testing using batch performance testing. We call them as batch. It's not online. Online means real time. Okay. You send a request real time, you got the response real time. For example, you send the request for a login and you got the response. You send the request for a launch, you immediately got the response. This is online, which means that it happens immediately. But offline or batches, it will just schedule, it will happen whenever it has to happen. Okay, maybe after 1 hour, or maybe after 2 hours, or maybe after 3 hours. Let's say there are batches and there are 100 programs. Okay, so these 100 programs, you kickstart the programs. First program will run. Okay, then second program will run. The third program will run. The fourth program will run. So this could run after 10 minutes. And there is the sixth program. After you kickstarted, this could run after 30 minutes. Okay, these are batch processes or offline jobs is what we call it. Okay, it is not online wherein you ask for something and immediately it's responding. No, this is something a programs are created and you kickstarted, it will run its own pace. Okay, performance testing could be done for that as well, but it's very, very simple. There is no tools involved. You go, they will give you the files, you just click on execute and see how much time it has taken to execute. That's it. So there's no real skill set required for that.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So did you get that, Shraddha?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So this is what is batch performance testing. Okay. This is probably the simplest of them, and you wouldn't, after 1 year also you wouldn't have anything to learn, because whatever you need to learn, you learn it in 1 day as to how to run the program from the operating system. You click on run program, see how much time it is taking to execute, note down the timings, and you say, oh, this program takes 5 minutes to execute. Okay, look at the SLA. If it is under 5 minutes, it's okay. This program will take 10 minutes to execute. You note down all the times for the programs and compare with the SLA. If it's missing the SLA, you'll say, okay, all these programs are under the SLA. Else, you say that this program is supposed to complete in 1 minute. It is taking 5 minutes. That's it. They will go back and change the program. Okay. Usually call it as batch because you have a bunch of programs which are there which will be executed together. Okay. So I'm ready to take the next question. Yigram, can we use LR for batch testing? No, Yigram, you don't need it. I mean, what is that you will automate there? There is some programs. You just have to go and then run the program. What is? I mean, where do you need the help of LoadRunner? You tell me now. Okay, Yigram, you're understanding, right? They will give you a program. Okay. So let's say I have a program. Watch carefully. I've created a small Unix program. Okay. So you see I'm running the program. Hang on. Okay. So I'm not running the program yet. I'm just going to that folder. Okay. So there is a program called test2.class. Okay. So you just say Java test2 and run it. Okay. It will take a little bit of time. And after the whole program is run, you will give out the results. Okay, looks like there is an issue with the program. It has error out. But if everything is right, it will give out the results saying that the program is done and the files are processed, and you note down the time. So why would you need a LoadRunner tool? What would you need a LoadRunner to do here? Okay, you take the program from the command line, you run it. Probably they will teach you how to run it from the command line. Okay. And that's a one-day learning. And once that is done, it's all done. That's it. You just you see when you have started the program and when you have ended the program. And in case these days you need not have to do this as well, because these days they are coming out with the tools like Control M and all that. Okay, so Control M tool. This is the tool which is there, and all your programs. Okay, P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, P6. P7 like this, you have all the way till P100, let's assume. Okay, so what you do is they're putting all these programs in the Control M, and once you click, there is a run button here. Okay, there is a run button here. You click on the run button. First the program one run, then automatically once this completes, then the other next program will be automatically triggered by the tool. You need not have to worry. Then immediately the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, automatically one program after another program. This tool called Control M itself will do it for you. And it will also tell you when the program has started, when the program has stopped, and how much time it has taken. So even that one you need not have to note it. Once the whole test is done, you come back and see which program has taken how much time, and all the 100 programs together, how much time it takes. And let's say all the 100 programs needs to run in 1 hour. So you'll see if it is getting run in 1 hour, and you just go back and say, okay, wonderful, Chaudhary. The right word is it's all scheduled. It's all scheduled. Okay. So Srivalli seems to have worked on that project. And it also provides CPU, runtime and all that for each batch job. Wonderful. By the way, the program that I have been telling you, I'm using the layman's language. Okay. We call this as a batch job. Okay. In the layman's language, you can say program. Okay. But we call this as a batch job because this is one of the job of this whole batch. Okay. All these programs together, we call it as a batch. And this one program, we call it as a batch jobs. And this program is a batch job. So these are all the batch jobs. Okay, these are all the batch jobs. So this is, I'm telling you, if there is a project like this which came across, if there is a possibility, don't take it, because you open the Control M, click on the run button, it will give you all the statistics, note it down and submit the report. That's it. Okay, for this, do you need all the degrees? So it's not. This is more like your manual testing. Okay, this is more like your manual testing. Manual testing. I hope I got the spelling correct. Okay, so this is more like, no offense to any system testers or manual testers here, guys. If somebody is over there, please don't get offended. But I'm telling you that it's more like a clerical work than a work a technical guy should do. But if you get a job, you are starting of your career, you take up any job that comes your way. Okay. But typically, if you're already working and then, think about it if you have to do a batch performance testing. There isn't much you can do over there. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. So Shraddha now got it. The tuning needs to be done on the database side or the ETL tool side. Shraddha, it's a database side. ETL tool is the tool using which you create these programs. Okay, so Shraddha, you need to, I mean, before you ask that questions like Shraddha, first you need to have a good understanding of the ETL tools. Okay, what is an ETL tool? Now, to answer that question, Shraddha, I have to tell you what an ETL tool is. Because the tool itself needs to be, cannot be done. And whatever the program that comes out of the tool could have an issue as well. So the program could be an issue, or the program could be, the program could be an issue, or the program, actually the program will be the issue, not the database. Okay, because you're taking the data from a database, putting it in the database. So whatever it is, it's in the program which is doing all that. So if there is an issue, it has to be in the program in general. Okay. So I have done it, but you have to have a very nice understanding of that ETL so that we can understand. Okay, sorry Shraddha if I have offended you, but you're asking some questions which are deep, for which you should need a good understanding of the ETL, at least how it works on the architecture side. Okay. So
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, so to answer that question, Shraddha, I would say most likely it should be in the programs. Okay, mostly the bottlenecks could be in your case. Okay, so any other questions, guys? So we have Sise, Anita, Rupa, Chaudhary, Phil, Imam, Prasad, Kumar, Lashim, Meli, Rahana, Rahul, Rakesh. I hope others are enjoying this the after class question and answering sessions. Okay, so I hope. Now let's start looking at the assignments. If you have any questions, please stop me and ask me. Okay. Let me.
What about those weekend classes? You were talking about some weekend classes. So are they happening or going to happen?
Sorry, Shraddha. Sorry.
You were talking about some weekend classes. So they are going to happen or they are currently happening?
Weekend classes, right? I'll tell you, it will not happen this weekend. It will start happening probably from the next weekend. So whenever we are ready, I wanted to start with Jmeter first. Okay, so we need to get to a point wherein you have to have some basics of scripting. So most likely it would happen on 24th weekend or this one. So guys, get prepared for that. The weekend which is happening on 24th. Okay, so I would need 2 days, and also the first. Whoever is wanted to learn Jmeter. So one of these days, I don't know. Okay, so I wanted to see how much I complete the LoadRunner tool by that time, so that I can start the Jmeter. Yes, Jmeter. You need to download, and everything will be told, Melly. So don't worry. So most likely, the first weekend class will happen on 24th, but that would be more for test plan and all that. So that will be 1 day. So how a test plan would look like in the real world, what is that you need to include, and performance testing life cycle, and some offline questions that people ask in the interviews, I'll talk. So that will not be a long class. It will be a short class of 1 to 2 hours. And this is the time wherein I need more time this weekend, first and second. Okay, wherein I'll start looking into the Jmeter. Okay, start looking into the Jmeter. Okay, so now let's see how many people have provided the assignments. Only one person. It's not many. Only one, or am I missing something here, guys? It's only one person who have given the assignment. Oh my God. Okay, so let's look at this. What is the assignment? So I expect a little more, work, guys, from your end. So let's see what Melly has done. Honestly speaking, guys, I myself don't know the years and all that, the versions, but let's see what she has done. Okay, let's see what she has done. If somebody finds any discrepancies over here, please let me know, because as for the tools and the versions are concerned, I might not be aware of all of them as well. So let's look into it. Okay, so I think this is where the web server ends. So let me mark this with a different color. Okay, so let's see. The developer, as in this is the company has developed. Okay, the heading is the company which developed it. Okay, Tomcat, this is the web app server, wonderful. JBoss, WebLogic, IAS, WebSphere. These are the ones which we have spoken in the class, wonderful. Okay, and the full form of IAS is what? Internet Information Systems. Wonderful, guys, wonderful, Melly, good job. Okay, so Tomcat is from Apache, JBoss is from Red Hat, WebLogic not applicable. WebLogic, I don't know if it's any company. WebSphere is IBM. IS is from Microsoft. Yes, I think only it supports .NET. I think it is from Microsoft. Yes. Okay, so these are the latest versions. Wonderful, wonderful, Melly. So the next one. So these are the web app servers. If somebody is looking at it, these are the web app servers, guys. Okay, these are the web app servers. So WebLogic, the company, there should be something. We'll look into that. Okay, so let's look at the company. Melly, did you? You can unmute yourself. You didn't find the company for WebLogic?
Yes, I couldn't find it. It wasn't listed.
It's Oracle Srivalli. That's what I was thinking. WebLogic is a premium e-commerce online transaction OLTP platform developed to connect distributed computer system, facilitate maintain. Okay, so okay, Oracle WebLogic. Wonderful. As you can see here. Okay, so let's name this as Oracle. Oracle. People say Oracle or Oracle or and all that. So let's look at the versions of this one. What is the latest version? WebLogic Server 12c. Okay, it is released in August 30, 2017. So it's 12.2.1.3. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this document is full. Good. Okay, so I'll send this across these documents to somebody who wants, guys. Okay, so somebody who wanted it, I'll send this document. You have to request the email, request it in an email. Okay, but do know that this document is prepared by Melly. You have to thank her before you can take that from her. Okay, so okay, this is the date. Oh my God. So Siddha has taken it way too seriously.
It's so funny.
Okay, so we have database servers. Now the database and the release date is also there. Okay, so this seems to be August 30 or something like that, right? August 30. Wonderful. Okay, so let me format this so that it's August 30. And now database server, you have MariaDB. Okay, MySQL DB is MariaDB. I didn't know that. Microsoft SQL Server, IBM DB2, PostgreSQL, wonderful. Oracle SQL or Oracle Server, which is very, very popular. So these two are from Oracle. This is from Microsoft SQL Server. Is Microsoft SQL Server 2017? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Anita. So I thought it was Anita who responded, right? Yeah, thank you. So these are the different databases. You have Oracle database server. You can say Oracle server, Oracle database, MySQL server, Microsoft SQL server, IBM DB2. This is popular. Okay, Postgres. I haven't heard that. Okay. And these two are from Oracle. Wonderful. This is from Microsoft. I'm pretty sure. IBM DB2. I'm sure this is from IBM, and this could be probably from Postgres. Okay. But however, after this class, I'll review all this information. Some of them I know, some of them I don't know. Then I'll start sending it across to everybody out there. Okay. So latest version and the years is also there. Okay. And as you're looking at, if you happen to find any discrepancies, guys, please let me know. Okay. Please let me know. Once I have shared with you and you see any discrepancies, you could let me know. Okay. Now this is Oracle. Now this is the important. This is a wonderful thing that you have made, Melly. I really appreciate this. You see, the programming language is Java. Okay, and who has created this programming language? It's not Oracle. Actually, it's Sun Microsystems, later on acquired by Oracle. Okay, so developer, you cannot say this. So I'll delete this. It's not required. Okay, so because sometimes it could be misleading because some person would have created and later on it could be acquired by somebody. Okay, latest version is Java 11 and all that. Okay, supporting, you see, supporting web app server. This is important, guys. Supporting web app server is Apache Tomcat. It had Linux is an OS. Okay, so IBM WebSphere. Okay, IBM WebSphere. This is, I know Apache Tomcat will support Java. IBM WebSphere supports that. WebLogic also supports that. Okay, Java. So this is important, guys. So this information, this piece of information that you're seeing over here, it is important. Okay. And C++, it's IIS Apache PW. Okay, wonderful. So usually, and I wouldn't worry about these programming languages. what I would worry about is .NET. Typically in the real world, it is .NET, Java, sometimes C++. So I'll come out with the supporting web app servers for .NET as well, guys. So this chart will be complete. So good job, Melly. So I'll complete this. Is it Tomcat supports .NET? Okay. So I'm going by your word, Srivalli. Okay, because you are from the infrastructure side. Okay. But I know that IIS supports .NET as well, but I wanted to confirm. Yeah, you said that as well. Yeah. So my IIS is from Microsoft. .NET is from Microsoft. Definitely IIS should support Microsoft. Okay. And the supporting database server also I'll give you. Okay. In this list, so that the list will be complete. Okay. So Srivalli, if you wanted to add something to this list, I would really appreciate that. It will use the complete class. Okay. And you came out with the supporting systems as well. This is incredible document. Wonderful. Okay. So Windows NT, PostgreSQL, Oracle, Microsoft Solaris, supporting OS, supporting systems. Okay. Wonderful. This document is good. I will have to review a couple of things which are there at the end. I'll get back to you. Okay. So this document is from who? Susi or Melly? Oh, you're not from the infra team? I'm sorry, somehow I got that impression. Okay. Maybe it could be somebody else in the class. Okay. So who is this? Mulugar. So this is Melly, right? Mulugar. This is Melly, right? Yes. Yeah. So you're the one who has submitted the assignment. Wonderful. So, oh, the QA knowledge you're telling. Wonderful, Srivalli. So that's a good job. Okay. Good job as a QA. You know all that information. Wonderful. Okay. So I'll come back with this document. I'll have to review a couple of things over here, especially this particular place. So tomorrow class is on. Please try to attend, guys. Okay. So Diwali is only for the Indian guys, so it's no Diwali for others. So please plan to attend. You can attend in the mobile phones and all that. So it will be just 1.5 hour, guys. So please take your time and attend it. So tomorrow, what I promise is a real-time architecture, that I come out with a simple real-time architecture that we can start with, so that you can start talking about that in the interviews. And I'll complete this document, send it across to you. Okay. And then we start getting into the other stuff, start defining what is performance testing. So that's about it for today, guys. Somebody who are new to the class, can you please introduce yourself? I have seen some new names. We have Rahul, who's a little new. And then I know Rakesh very well. So first let me stop recording, okay? Because this information is not needed.